Hello everyone, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Welcome back to my channel. If you're here for the first time, then hey, what's up? Today in this video, I am doing the 6 art styles challenge. I know that a lot of people have done this already and that I'm like 4,000 years late, but I want to try my hand at it because I've never done it before. So the art styles that I will be replicating today are art styles that I have personally taken a lot of inspiration from, artists that have influenced me a lot throughout my art journey. Some of them have been for a long time, some of them are more recent. They all have impacted me in some form or another, whether in my style or just my mindset when it comes to art, or just basic tips and tricks. So yeah, let's get into it. Also, you can see that in the corner I made a little sprite of my character drawing. I just made that up really quick. I wanted to make one that was separate from my Twitch overlay. By the way, twitch.tv/edgymoss. I stream there sometimes, but I haven't done so in a while, but maybe soon, hopefully. Okay, so the first art style I can say with 100% certainty that this artist has had the most impact on me. This artist goes by the username Cryptid Worm, but with 2 zeros for the O and the worm. You may know them as the person who made those animatics of different musicals back in like 2017, 2018, and I was one of those people who watched them a lot. I remember watching their animatic for the first time. I think it was Candy Store, and it just completely blew me away, introduced me to a whole new world of media, and I loved their art so much. All their animatics, their speed paints. I would watch their speed paints multiple times a week just to like really consume their art. And I'll be honest, I tried to copy their art style a lot. Like, I really admired their art style, and it's really something that I aspire to do. And even now, like, around 4 or 5 years later, I'm still trying to do what they do because their art styles improve so much. As you can see, they've been doing this rendering style as their main style for a lot, and it's the exact same kind of style of rendering that I want to achieve with my art. Of course, I don't want to copy every single aspect, I just want to incorporate some of their elements into my own style. The way I did this style was that they very recently uploaded a Speedpaint video where they explained their process of drawing and how they render, and that was really useful to the production of this video. So I must have watched that video like 6-7 times by now. It had funky music and it was really fun to watch him draw and the energy of the drawing itself. I'll link it in the description so that you can check it out and appreciate his beautiful art. As I said before, I take a lot of inspiration from them, so I think that my art style has sort of become a bit similar to them, which is, you know, it's fine to like have similar art styles. So I think that this style was like the easiest to do. I mean, I'll be honest, it took a while because there was rendering, and I'm not very used to doing rendering stuff. I usually do line art and shading, but it's fun. It's good to practice this sort of thing, and I enjoyed it. Also, I didn't show it in the speed paint, but later on I added several halftones to the drawing because Cryptid Worm himself uses a lot of halftones in his art, and I wanted to do that, and I'm still doing that in my usual art as well. I had a lot of fun rendering this. My favorite part was like the shadow stuff. I liked doing the shading for this. A unique thing, maybe not unique, a lot of artists do this, but like I like how Cryptid Worm takes different colors from the surrounding objects in the drawing and puts it into the shading, because I think that makes for a really good contrast and makes it more colorful and pretty. And I've started using that technique in a lot of my drawings as well, so I can't overstate just how much Cryptid Worm has impacted my art style in general. I know that they don't particularly look back at their animatic days with fondness anymore, but I hope they know how much impact they've had on so many artists online. I can't wait to see where he goes with his art. He has so much potential and really good understanding of color theory and character design. I really wish the best for him. I think all in all this style took around 2.5 hours. It was very cool to study how they render and apply it to my own art so I can learn from them. And yeah, it was a lot of fun doing this style, and Cryptid Worm, if you're watching this for some reason, oh my god, hi. Thank you so much for all you've done, and your art is still incredible after all these years, and I'm still a huge fan of you. Haha. On to the next style. Alright, so the next artist I'm replicating is MewTripled, an artist YouTuber who works in animation and storyboards, I believe. And I discovered her through her sketchbook tours, like those sketchbooks where she just drew a lot of girls and her old sketchbooks and whatever. And I really loved her like attitude, you know, she was like a feisty, doesn't take shit from anyone kind of artist. And her art itself is just very stylized. I loved it a lot. And here I think of all the art styles, this one is the simplest, but that doesn't mean that she's, you know, a simple artist. I've seen her past work and it's freaking amazing. It's just that she typically doesn't do full illustrations anymore, she mostly does pink monochrome comics now, and that's cool, that's chill. So I scrolled back a bit into her Instagram and found more illustrated drawings. Noticed that she usually uses a sort of textured brush for her line work, so I went for, I think it was the taper pen or something along those lines, and it was really fun to work with. Her noses as well, just pretty simple, it's just like a quick swoosh, and there you go. Also, she and I have a similar theme in that our characters are demons. Both our characters have like demon horns, and I think sometimes she does a devil tail. So it was very easy to like pull up references of demon horns and see how she drew them. So yeah, it's cool that she has this devil theme, because I like doing the devil theme, and you know, I really like her stuff. I love how spunky she is and takes no shit from anyone, and I love the tips that she gives out to younger artists, and I binge watch her videos a lot, and her old ones. I really admire her. So yeah, this drawing I think took the shortest amount of time. I chose a more aggressive pose because, you know, MewTripled is just, you know, I've already described her. If you watch her videos, you'll know what I'm talking about probably. And if you don't, what the heck are you doing? Go check out her channel. I'll link it down below as well. I'll link everyone's channel. I say everyone, but there's only like 3 online artists that I've chosen to replicate today. But yeah, check her out. See what tips she has for artists starting out. MewTripled, if you're watching this, oh my god, hi. Your art tips are so good. Your art itself is incredible. I love rewatching your sketchbook tours over and over again. Keep it up. We'll move on to the next artist. The third artist I'm replicating is ABD Illustrates. He is more of a recent inspiration as I only discovered his channel around a few months ago. His style was a bit hard to replicate because how he draws is that he does a sketch and then line art on top of a new layer, and I don't do that. I used to do that, but then it got too hard, so I just switched to cleaning up my sketch to make it look like line. But I wanted to be accurate as possible, so I just drew it the same way he would. So it was a challenge for me. It was out of my comfort zone, but that's what this exercise is for. You may notice that I'm doing different poses for each of these styles, and for this one I chose a more of a surprised look, sort of like my character is in awe, because ABD himself inspires me a lot, and I wanted to convey that for the drawing in his style. His line art is also a lot thinner, so that was also a bit of a roadblock in me doing this style. How I do my line art, like I said before, is that I sculpt it out of my sketches. However, in his style, he does it on top of a new layer entirely. So it was hard, but I can't complain. It was still cool to like go back to my roots there, because that's how I used to do art. To make the process easier, I used the vector layers when doing the line art, because vector layers are like, they let you erase the lines entirely, like the stroke you just did, with a specific eraser, and that was very convenient and helpful. I didn't have to use a regular eraser and erase every specific pixel in the drawing to make it look perfect. I also just want to ramble about ABD Illustrates character designs for a minute. His character designs are really hot. Like, I was able to find a lot of good references that would help me draw my Sona a lot better. I'm not saying that my Sona is hot, but I kind of made him hot anyway. But some of ABD's characters, like the villain from Heartless and one of his D&D characters, they were very good references for how I drew my character's hair and stuff, you know. His style of shading is also known as cell shading. He usually does it that way, and so I had to do it here. And it was also hard because my style of shading is more painterly, and cell shading intimidates me for some reason. I don't know. I colored the line art a little and added highlights and bounce light, and we're done. I got to do some colored line art, which made the piece look a lot more soft and nice to look at. And I added a bit of bounce light and hair highlights, and it was done. ABD Illustrates, if you're watching this, I'm a huge fan. I love High Hope Slow Rolls. I'm so enthralled by your character design and everything you do. And yeah, I really respect your stuff. Keep at it, man. And with this, we're moving on to the next style. Our next art style is not an online artist, but a TV show. One that ended in 2010 and never got a second season. Why? This show, as you may or may not have guessed, is Penny and Stocking. Another angel and demon based media that got me really into that whole scene, even though I'm not Christian or anything. Now I love this show. I love the art style, it's so unique, the animation is so fluid, and I would watch any show with this kind of art style. But this show has aged very badly. I watched it when I was very young, so I didn't know what was going on, but looking back at it now, it had very racist caricatures of black people, specifically Garter Belt, and I just cannot condone that. I wish he wasn't designed like that and any other black person in the show. It could do without the fat phobia and racism and incest, but at the end I still like the show for its art style and raunchy humor. I didn't have much trouble replicating this one because I had already tried to several times before in my art journey. It was fun to pick up references of the Demon Sisters and apply it to my own character. Although I decided not to give my character red skin because I thought it looked weird, but then I completely contradicted myself in the next style, as you will see. But don't worry about that, it's fine. In the show, it's about these angels and demons, and they have weapons that transform from their garments. I gave my character sort of a spiky bat, inspired by another show I watched, but I don't know where it transformed from, so maybe his thigh highs? I don't know. The line art is nice and thick, so I had a bit of fun doing it. It was in my comfort zone. Yeah. I said before that I watched this show when I was very young, and I really should not have because it probably affected my development in some type of way. But it still had a lot of impact on me as an artist, as I tried to incorporate a lot of its elements into my own style, such as the exaggerated facial expressions and the slanted eyes and stuff. I don't know. The show is also in cell shading, so I just did that, and it was honestly pretty simple. I tried to keep shading to a minimum because I didn't want to clutter it up so much, and the show itself doesn't have a lot of shading. I had a lot of fun doing this one. It took about 2 hours. I'll just let the speed paint play, and when it's time for the next style, we'll get there. So yeah. Our next piece of media is Monster Prom, a video game where you date monsters. I love how this game's art style is so sharp and angular, but also kinda, I don't know. I can't describe these things because I'm not good with my words, even though I have an 8.0 in IELTS, humble brag. But maybe if I actually had a script for these things I would do better, but I don't feel like it. We're just winging it, baby. This art style was also fun to do. It was also hard, but you know, still a good learning experience. The pose for this one, I decided for it to be a bit more, you know, passionate, just because I felt like it. Also, I had a lot of good references for this one because Monster Prom has like 3 demon characters, I believe, maybe more. I haven't counted, but they have one specific character in Monster Camp that is like my favorite type of character to make. They are Sawyer. They're a reference on the Speedpaint. And they're a succubus, incubus, I believe. Either one. I just know that they're hot as fuck, and I Oh my god, this character was literally made for me to play as. Like, I hope you see the resemblance, because and I love the like heart-shaped top scars. I'm generally considering giving that to my Sona as well. Sawyer's design is just incredible. It's my favorite type of character, to be honest, and yeah, they were a very good reference for this. And I also used Damien as a reference, because yeah, he's also a demon. And he was also the first character that I went for in Monster Prom, because of course, he's a bad boy with a soft side, he's a demon, and I love demons, as you can tell. Also, I contradicted my previous statement during the Panty and Stocking style about red skin, but I decided to go for red skin on this style because typically the demons in Monster Prom have like a lighter colored skin tone, and then their horns are darker. I didn't do that for Panty and Stocking because, I don't know, it's not... Okay, spoiler alert if you haven't watched Panty and Stocking, but Stocking is revealed to be a demon and she didn't have red skin the entire time, so it's fine, okay? It's fine. This style also has colored line art, but the colored line art is only like in the inner line art and not the outside line art. You know what I mean? I hope you know what I mean. If you're watching the video, you probably know what I'm trying to say. So yeah, inner lines are like thinner, and for like the outline, it's just a tiny bit thicker, so I put a black outline by like 1 pixel. Did more cell shading, yada yada yada, small little highlights. Gave a little blush that's lighter on the skin because that's how it looks in Monster Prom. And we're done. This one took about 2.5 hours, and we're on to the next one. Our last but certainly not least art style is Kill la Kill. I actually had to draw this one on a separate canvas because the file was getting too big for Clip Studio to handle on my iPad, so yeah. I decided on Kill la Kill because it was one of the few animes I watched and got invested in and like, you know, finished. I wanted to do an anime art style for the last one because the previous ones have been cartoony. I know Panty and Stocking is an anime, but it's not anime in the traditional sense, so I had to get one that I actually knew. And Kill la Kill was one of those. This is another one of those animes that you look back and think, I don't think that teenagers should be wearing that, but you know, I was young and didn't know what was going on. I still like this anime regardless. I think it has a really interesting story. The basic premise is that Ryuko, this girl, seeks to find the person who killed her father, and she ends up at this academy for the elite, and there's this unique material called life fibers that enhances the human body but can also make you go crazy, go silly, and whatever. And she gets this sailor uniform from her father that is made completely out of life fibers, and it makes her super strong, but also it shows her entire boobie. I could go into the story more, but I think you should watch it yourself. It is a really good anime despite its flaws and my personal problems with it. But the animation? Oh, the animation is so good. It's made by Studio Trigger. What more can you expect from them? It's so fluid, there's so much movement, and it's also very unique and has its sort of comedic style. I don't know, like they'll use one drawing and like move it around without even animating it for real, but it still gives out that right effect. It also gives a comedic feeling. You might understand if you watched the actual anime. But yeah, the idea for this piece, I wanted my character to instead be like a demon thing. I wanted his demon attributes to be made out of life fibers, so I made the eyes and the tail and the horns life fibers, and I also made his choker and thigh-high socks made out of life fibers just because I could. I wanted to give it more variety. And yeah, this one had very thin line art because I wanted to stick to the, you know, the anime style, and anime typically has like lines that don't have pen pressure and whatever. I also looked at the official like promotional art for the anime, and I saw that they also used like lines with more pressure, so I went back a bit and replaced some of the thin lines with strokes from the normal G pen to give it a bit more depth and whatever. I don't know these art stuff. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just talking out of my ass. Gave it a bit of shading, a little overlay on the life fibers, and I think we're done. I also chose a more angry pose for this style because in the anime, Ryuko is a very emotional and self-driven person, and all the poses before were very positive and happy, and I wanted to do like a negative one and really stick it, you know? I don't know what I'm saying. I just want to do an angry pose. And I think that's done. I added little squares to like separate the styles, put a little background of stripes, put the respective artist names and logos on each drawing, and that's my attempt at the 6 art styles challenge. I'll be honest, I don't think I did a really good job of copying these art styles, but it was good to try nonetheless. Here are the finished results. I'm putting it on the screen and doing a slideshow and stuff. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and be sure to check out the artist I mentioned in this video. And if you liked this video itself, then consider leaving a like and a comment and maybe subscribing. It really means a lot to me. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.